Welcome to Bible for Overcomers. So there is a huge debate right now on various forms of social media about marriage, and so we have this young gal, Pearly Things, that is talking about marriage and why alimony and child custody courts are so slanted against the men. And I've been checking into some of this stuff, and basically she's brought this up, and we have the whole cast, even the spouses of the Daily Wire, which has done a lot of great things on the cultural front. They're not all, Bible believing Christians, but aside from that, on the cultural front, they've done a lot of great things. I'm a big fan, but wow, it's just amazing to me. She's bringing up this business about how entitled, how empowered, I don't know what terminology we should use. Many of the young gals believe that they can just step into marriage, step back out if things are not going right. And I have read now, or at least I've heard on a woman's channel, that basically 80% of divorces, I guess she's including first and second and third marriage breakup divorces, are initiated by the women. That's an incredible stat. That's just really amazing. And so this girl, Pearly Things, goes by the name of Pearl, is putting this out there to Christian thought leaders, or supposed Christian thought leaders, conservatives at any rate. What's going on? Why do you push marriage when so many young men are committing suicide after these divorces because they've lost everything? They can't even see their kids. Another man has stepped into the situation or not. And you would think that the cultural conservatives, the traditionalists, would be able to respond by saying, yes, you do have a point, young woman, you have a very valid point. And I would think that they should use their great influence and follower accounts to push for lobbying for some changes in family court, some changes in divorce court. But no, it is amazing. To a person, they are not doing that, and instead they are engaging in ad hominem attacks, which means against a person, to this 21, 22-year-old Pearl. And it's just amazing to me. We can't push people into marriage when the system is so ridiculously draconian and set up to punish the man. I know, I understand there's single women that listen to me. I was a single parent for a while with two kids. I understand that there's a burden on both sides, but nobody can deny that the way the alimony and the child custody is written up is just basically put many of these men into a period of indentured servitude where they basically don't have rights. And I think that Christians and traditionalists need to acknowledge that there's a problem and then start to lobby for some changes in these family and divorce alimony courts. And it's just amazing to me to see older conservatives, or at least in their 30s, 40s, responding so childishly to this woman's serious objections as to what marriage has become. And whenever there's changes that occur in the society, it is up to us to recognize that and to do everything we can to talk about it and to push these issues. And I think it's a failure of the tradcons, or the traditional conservatives, that they cannot acknowledge these problems. And that's one thing that's going on in the church now that I think needs to be addressed. Another thing too, if I can just go on a little rant for a minute, is the church has found itself idolizing people like Mike Pence, who constantly puts himself out there as a family man, yet he's one of the biggest neocon warmongers I have ever witnessed in my lifetime. So he talks about family values, and yet he's all into bombing other countries. He's got the cross of Christ completely strangled with his version of the flag. And that's just another thing, this pimping and repping of the military-industrial complex by Christian, thought leaders and preachers and pastors with huge platforms, huge followings. It's just amazing to me to see how out of step with decency, with the Bible, with common sense, with principles of freedom, what I would call first principles, some of these people are. And then the third one, if you'll indulge me for a minute, is this whole Christian Zionism thing, where I'm just going to say, in the Bible, it says to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, okay? And we are to go about evangelizing, living out the faith, being a witness. God will take care of his chosen people, okay? By the way, Galatians 3, 27, 28, 29 make it very clear that you are Israel if you are in Christ. Now, as far as the people that crucified Jesus, and will eventually be brought back, it's very clear they'll be brought back and they will understand about the Messiah, thank God. That is coming in the latter days. But it's certainly not here right now. And that's it in a nutshell. Christians are under no obligations to be worrying about another country's missile systems and all of this. You have to understand that it's not exactly like there's a whole lot of Bible believers, even for the Old Testament, over there. And of course, we all want peace in the Middle East. But this Christian Zionism thing has really set up like almost a two-tiered thing where you have Messianic, Christians, and then you have like the normal pleb Christians. I resent this, and I just think it is way off of the scriptures, way out of the Bible, and it's just amazing to see. But these three things, these are three things that need to be, I think they need to be addressed, especially the marriage issue. And I've spouted out, enough times about the whole warmongering thing. If your nation needs to defend itself legitimately, there's no problem with that. But when you are engaged in foreign adventures, way outside of your original charter, please don't put a Christian label on that. Anyway, that's all I got. That's just a rant. Sorry, didn't bring up any scriptures today. Normally, this is only about the Bible, but marriage is all throughout the Bible. And I think we need to get back to the biblical idea of a marriage with being realistic about the people getting married, their expectations. And to just say, find a good person in church that's not sufficient. We have to recognize that many people, especially, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it, many of the young women have been so indoctrinated with this idea, this Prince Charming thing, that they're just going to find somebody that's going to fulfill every emotional, physical, protective need. And the minute that starts to falter, that they're just free, Christian or not, to go find somebody else. This needs to be addressed, because I would suspect that the divorce rate in the Christian church is every bit as bad as in civil society, as in the unchurched. And so we have found ourselves at quite a crossroads. And it's time for people with some real followings to address this and not to act childish and not to address the issues being raised as we see here with this Daily Wire and some other traditional conservatives against this young woman, Pearl.